for the Village of Lincoln Heights is now called to order. Roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilman Durant Daniels. No response. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell.
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson.
Present.
We have 2 who are present and 1 who is absent at this time.
All right, thank you. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the mercy, blessing, and grace you have given us. Lord, we ask you to come among us this evening as we do the business of the village. We ask that you pour into our hearts all those things that we need to know in order to do the business. Lord, we ask this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right, we have the law committee minutes. Is there a motion to accept the minutes with any corrections?
I motion that we accept the minutes with a needed correction.
I'll second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, old business. There is no old business necessarily listed on the agenda. However, I do want to point out that in the minutes, the information where Mr. Daniel said he wanted money set aside for various things, I would like for us to place that in the Finance Committee. So, Ms. Stinson, Vice Mayor, if I can get a motion to place the finance information from the Law Committee into Finance.
I'll make that motion.
I will second. Been properly moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Mr. Dukes, do you have any old business from the Law Committee?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mayor?
Oh, was I supposed to have something?
Well, I don't know if there was something from the minutes that you read that you thought needed to be brought out or not. I don't know, I'm just checking.
I was actually hoping that we had miscellaneous, but I don't see it on here, so.
Okay, well, we can amend the agenda,
Okay.
right?
I motion that we amend the agenda to add miscellaneous after
Number 8.
number 8, public comments.
I will.
I did have some I'm sorry.
Okay, I second that motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. So miscellaneous becomes number 9 and adjournment becomes number 10. Yes, Vice Mayor, old business?
Okay, again, of course, do we have the system together for removing cars? Do we have that plan in order? Because I know we had some steps at first. You get your warning, then your sticker. Did we follow up with the sheriff to make sure that they can tow cars and we can follow through with towing or anything else for old business?
I guess that's directed to you, Mr. Dukes.
Okay. Well, the sheriff department is placing the orange stickers on a lot of the cars. I've noticed around the village, including one directly across from the village. Now, as far as them, their towing, I don't know if they're really kind of following through with the towing at this time, but I will talk with Lieutenant Boyd, and we're in the process of, I think we would have to find our own towing company for the village to tow the vehicles. But for right now, and that would be the ones we would be interested in would be the abandoned vehicles that are inoperable and parked improperly on private property. But no, we haven't gotten the towing company in line for that as of yet. But I know the sheriff has been citing vehicles, and as they cite them, people move them because from time to time, if you ride by the corner of Lindy and Wayne, you'll see a lot of vehicles parked there improperly, but the vehicles change almost daily, it seems. So the sheriff has been looking around the village and citing the vehicles that are improperly parked and trying to make sure that the residents aren't parking illegally. And I know, as Lieutenant Bowen has indicated before, they're staying vigilant on the illegal parking on Leggett as well. So I don't know if that answers your question, but if not, please let me know.
Okay,
Right. Go ahead, Jane, go ahead.
I did have a little more. How are we following through once the sticker is on there? If they didn't do what they're supposed to do, move the car, do whatever they need to do, the sheriff follow through or we follow through? And are we stickering any cars? Are we putting stickers on cars or just the sheriff?
The sheriff is just putting the stickers on the cars that are in the roadway at this moment. Like I say, the village code enforcement will be more concerned with going after the cars that are abandoned in the yards. Okay. So at this time, it's just the sheriff that's being vigilant towards the cars that are parked along the street.
And so, Mr. Dukes, then what about those vehicles that are parked on private property in the grass, primarily across the sidewalk, because our code does speak to that. So they're not abandoned, but they've been parked there.
Well, that would probably go to the sheriff's department if they're not abandoned and they have proper license and registration. Then that would be something that I would have to pass on to the sheriff's department.
Okay, so the sheriff would ticket, for instance, when you go up Leggett and you make a right turn on Prairie. So any car that is parked, has crossed the sidewalk and is parked behind the bushes on the lawn, who would ticket that car?
That could be, the sheriff could ticket it and the village could ticket it. It could come from a law enforcement perspective, as well as it could come from a code perspective. But being that it has, like I said, the vehicle has proper license and registration, then proper tags, then, I'll talk with Lieutenant Bowen, because I would think that situation would probably be better handled through the sheriff's department.
Madam Chair, I have a question for Mr. Dukes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so since we're talking about the ticketing of the cars, is there a plan laid out as far as, I know we talked about it previously when we were giving, is there a billing structure for how much the ticket's going to cost? If it's going to be the responsibility of the individual to pay the towing company? Have you guys outlined anything as far as how that's gonna
No,
roll
ma'am.
out?
We've only talked about it, and we got to some of those fees that have occurred in the past from the clerk of courts. But we've talked about it, and one idea has been to allow them to, once it's towed, then they would have to come down to the village and pay for a release, but we haven't, so that they could take it to the towing company and pay for the impound fee and towing fee from that point. But we discussed potentially having a release form that they would have to pay for down at the village, but we haven't put anything in place yet.
Do you have a time, Madam Chair, I have one more. So is there a timeline that you plan to, because I know we've talked about this more than once, as far as the billing, we talked about it, I believe last month. And so we need to identify when we would like this to take place, reaching out, picking a towing company. I know you may want to look at who's towed them in the past, but we would like to see a timeline, because it's like we're spinning our wheel and we haven't made any decision on when this is going to take place, because we have to make sure that we inform our residents that this is going to be enforced. So Is it
Well-
because you have to get with Mr. Desai on the legal verbiage or what?
Yeah, yes, I need to get with Mr. Desai on the legal verbiage, as well as we've, I guess the hangup has been trying to identify, the fees that need to be charged, and trying to see if there's something in the ordinances that speak to that. Over the past few weeks, I've been digging through, the ordinance on American legal, as well as retrieving the ordinances from the clerk's office to that corresponds to those 1995 ordinances. And I've gone back as far as, I think, in some instances 1977, may have been some in 1950, that the our ordinances refer, the code refers to as the enabling legislation. So been trying to pull all that information together to make sure that we have the legal, we have the legal grounds to do this, to ensure that, and so that we'll have the language for the code enforcer to put on the letters and notices, and we can refer the community to these ordinances if they are cited. But that's one end of it. Then another thing is, we're just trying to, I haven't really seen a fee structure, so we're still grappling with that. But we can pull together a recommended fee structure and send that to Mr. Desai, perhaps this week, and see if he has any feedback on that, if we just want to kind of go before we pull out as many details as we can pull together. So, that's one approach.
Well, Mr.
One more thing. Wait a minute, Ms. Mitch, I just got one more, and then I'll take my seat. So I do know that Ms. Perkins had been doing some research, and she reached out to another municipality, and she sent out a fee structure for you all to look at. And then there's also some data from tickets for code enforcement that took place in 2017. You may want to look at that. It was a couple of code enforcement issues that they came into mayor's court that Ms. Perkins had did the research on. So I wasn't sure if you were able to review that information yet, but that may allow you to help looking at the fee structure from another municipality, along with what tickets have came across, to try to incorporate something. It just seems like I would like to see something take place, and I'm sure council would see something take place before the end of the year.
Okay. Well, we're working on it. I mean, if you notice in the village, I mean, the service department has been really doing a lot of work. There were a lot of brush piles all over the place. We have to still respond to the resident complaints as they come in. There was a ton of brush at the village that has had to be cleaned and removed and hauled away. So between Jamal Willis and myself, we've been trying to find a time to be able to sit down and pull the information together to put this thing together. But we're trying to, do it in the midst of all these other things that are going on. But I'm pretty sure that we'll take that information that Ms. Perkins has sent and pull it together, as well as, I don't think the information that she reached out to the other community, I don't think they really provided anything. I don't think they had anything. If it's Woodlawn, I think they said that they really didn't have any established fee structure. But
she actually sent one. I'll be glad to send that. I'll send that out to council tonight, because it's not Woodlawn that she got it from, and it's probably hard to see because it was kind of blurry, but it was a long list of code enforcements and the pricings that they charge.
Really, I don't recall seeing that. Maybe I was copied in it, got by me, but yeah, I'll take a look, and if not, I'll check with her tomorrow on that.
I'll look through my email and send that. Thank you.
So,
All right.
Mr. Dukes, I guess in the past, when we have had cars moved, we had nothing, we did not have any administrative fee at all. We simply called the towing company, they moved it, and if the individual wanted to get their car, they went down there and did whatever's necessary. We did not charge anything to do that. We weren't trying to send it to mayor's court. So I guess my question is, if the car is tagged, our interest is getting it off the street and to, I guess, have an administrative fee, a release fee, as you called it, to say, yes, it's okay for them to move their car. Is that absolutely necessary? Shouldn't they?
Well, it's not absolutely necessary. That's just something that if the village wanted to account for the time, effort, and expenses of staff time citing the people and following up and coordinating with the towing service and all that. But if the village doesn't want to account for that time and expense, then there's no problem just allowing the vehicle to be tagged and the code enforcement passing that information
But I
on to
thought
the
you
towing
said
company.
the sheriffs were tagging the cars.
They are tagging cars on the roadways. They are.
Okay.
Now, that would be a question for Lieutenant Bourne as to how many they've actually had to tow. But I know, I'm constantly out in the village looking around, and I see the cars are constantly moving. So they may move the vehicles before they're actually towed. But that would be a question I would need to ask him as to if they have a number of how many they've actually ticketed and how many they've towed.
So when the orange sticker is put on the car, is there a ticket or citation put with it, or just the orange sticker that says what? Move your car? What does the sticker say?
Well, yeah, that orange sticker, I think it gives them about 48 hours or something like that to move the vehicle.
Okay.
And the sheriff will have it towed.
Okay, and if it's on private property, we're saying abandoned, and by abandoned, we mean no license plates or expired license plates.
Yes, that's what abandoned means. But again, if it's illegally parked on grass against the ordinances, then again, the sheriff department can assist us with that.
But we have to tag it first. Our code enforcer
We can actually inform the sheriff department about those vehicles that have proper tags and that are improperly parked. They could go up and cite that. I guess it would just be a matter of us letting them know which vehicles. But again, we would have to just I'll send Lieutenant Butler an email to just confirm it, because I know this was a discussion that we had with Sergeant Sherman when he was here, and he did indicate that they could do that. But I would just need to be able to confirm that with Lieutenant Bowen.
All right, that would be good, because I think the issue that I would have would be, you see the car, and what is the time frame from the time you put the sticker or the citation on the car on private property and the sheriff come up? Or do they call the towing company right away?
Well, I think the sheriff company, they put the orange sticker on it, and if it's not moved or taken care of, then within that time frame, then they check on it and call the towing company. And in my experience, they normally wait till the towing company get there and remove the vehicle. But I'll have to check with him and see what their process is for sure.
Well, it would be good for
I have a question.
A streamlined process that we can see, what those steps are. I mean, I know you may have to pull them from various sources, but it would be good, to see that, charted out so that we understand what the process is.
Okay, I can pull that together. I mean, basically, with the sheriff department, like once they put the orange sticker on, they have, like I say, I think they give about 48 hours or maybe I'll have to see the exact time that they allow with their stickers. And then from that point, if it exceeds that time, they can call in the towing company. But I'll get that spelled out, talk with Lieutenant Boeing and get that spelled out and confirm whether or not, you know, he's of the belief also that the sheriff can assist us with removing vehicles on private property that are improperly parked.
Thank you. One moment, Mayor. Ms. Childs Judy, did you have your hand up earlier?
No.
Oh, okay.
I've had mine up.
Vice Mayor.
Okay. My question, I think that last meeting, Mr. Willis may have said that he has already had a conversation with Tri-State Towing. I don't know how long it takes for us to sign off on something. It should just be take the day to take care of that, for them to be our towing company. And my other concern with parking on Leggett, I know that it's getting really bad up there by Scotty's. They're parking right in front of the daycare.
They're parking in front of the stop sign on
Yeah.
Jackson, right?
And it was on the weekend, so I know it wasn't the daycare. And I seen somebody get out and, you know, maybe if we send them a friendly letter reminding them to remind their customers not to park on the street.
Yeah, either that or just, you know, again, the parking near the stop signs and things of that nature, that's the sheriff department. They should be able to go up at that moment and let them know that they're not to be parking there and probably pass that information along. But we can also, as a courtesy, you know, from the village, send the business owner a letter stating that information.
So, Ms. Vice Mayor, when we look at in terms of the towing company, that still would need to be an agreement. So that would have to be legislation saying that we select them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the way we used to do it before, I think we had Tri-State Towing, and I know sometimes they rotate. You know, one company gets them this time, the next company gets them the next time. But if we're going to go with Tri-State, then we just need to do a resolution and have an agreement with them.
Mm-hmm. Laying out, yeah, the terms where we're not charging anything. They'll tow the vehicle at their expense and release it, you know, based on their fees that they'll charge the owner.
So if that is something, Ms. Vice Mayor, that you think you want to do, you make that motion, and, you know, and we can get that to Mr. Dukes to give to Mr. Desai. It may not happen for, you know, October, but as we working through it, whatever the negotiation would have to be, but we can begin that.
I'd like to make a motion that, oh gosh.
You want to just say motion to select a towing company?
Sure, that's my motion to select. I'd like to make a motion that we select a towing company.
Okay, for purposes of removing cars based on citations.
Yeah, that's it. For removing cars and citations, I'd like to make a motion that we pick a towing company.
All righty, I will second that. And we go ahead and do a roll call, Ms. Randolph.
Councilman Durant Daniels, not present. Councilwoman Laverne Mitchell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Benson.
Yes.
We have 2 aye votes, 1 absent. The motion carries.
Thank you. All right, any other old business or anything from the minutes? All right, let's go on to number 6, a review of, for new business, a review of the village solicitor is upon the village manager, council, or both.
Are you asking that question, or are you ready for a discussion?
Yeah, that's the discussion that's on, that's the question.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay, I would think that that would be either, if council suggested it, that would be something the village manager looked into, correct?
Well, actually, well, with the village manager, the village solicitor is under the supervision, I guess you would say, of the village manager. But if you are going to do an evaluation, if that's what he means, when he says review, performance review, I would think there would be something that the manager would do, as well as get the input from council, since the village solicitor has to work with us as well. So it seemed like it'd be basically almost a 360. Mr.
Ms.
Dukes, would you like to respond?
Who?
Mr. Dukes.
Well,
Ask Mr. Dukes if he'd
well-
like to respond.
well, Mr. Daniels placed this item on the agenda. And I think basically it is dealing with whether or not, the village would be interested in looking at the fee structure and potentially seeing, probably what some other pricing would be for the services. But I can't really speak for Mr. Daniels. He would have to kind of, talk about what his thoughts were at the time that he decided to put this on the agenda.
All right, well, we'll just table that and move on to hearing from the resident, unless someone else has something they want to offer for number 6. Okay. All righty, so do we have Geneva Clark available?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did we follow up and call her today, or you said that you made sure she had the correct one, right?
Yes, I did speak with her.
And she said she would be on
Yes,
for this meeting or the 6:30 meeting?
for the law committee meeting.
Madam Chair, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Ms. Clark come to the meeting and we had this discussion already?
Yes, we did, but Mr. Daniels offered her to come and talk more about it. To talk again, because I think she was at the
Oh,
council
okay.
meeting when she
Mhm.
brought it up.
So that she could have more time to speak.
Right. So I
Okay,
don't
gotcha.
know if, unless he checked out the information and what it takes to change a street name, or if she is going to present us with a documentation, written information as to why the street should be changed. I mean, that's what I would like to see. I know Ms. Shackelford, I knew Ms. Shackelford. So if there is some information, I would think Ms. Clark would, give us something to say, this is why, and what street she was interested in. And then we would need to look at what all is involved in that.
Yes, ma'am. What's involved, and whether or not, when was the last time it was done? And whether or not precedent has already been established, or would you be establishing precedent by
Well,
allowing this particular case?
you would probably be, to my knowledge, we'd be setting a precedence. I mean, it has come before council before. They wanted a Leggett renamed, and it did not go through. But I just think that our council needs we need to at least get the information to say, this is the process to change the street name, but you're talking about making sure it gets down to the auditors, so forth and so on. Vice Mayor?
Ms. Mitchell,
Yes.
in the past, how many of these requests do we get, and what has been the process?
Well, well, I can only speak when I've been here.
Well, you've been here a while, Ms. Mitchell.
I have.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
There was a time that they wanted Leggett renamed after Charles Foles.
Mhm.
And there was a petition. So typically there's a petition, but council did not accept it.
So do we have a process in order? For example, you know, if somebody wanted to remove a council member, you know, it's a petition, it's a process. Do we
Right.
have a process for naming of streets or changing the names of streets?
It might be in the code. I have not seen it, but that is the only time that I know of that a street was requested to be renamed. So you'd have to have public hearings. You know what I'm saying, for the people who already live on the street.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it could be an involved process.
Yes. Okay. Because I've been around in Woodlawn when they like put like a sub name or something like that up
Right.
under the
Yeah,
street name.
but that's
But
the
a
thing.
lot of people don't even know the reason why a lot of names of our streets are named that. And I know last year when we did the Black History Play, we sort of touched on some of it, just doing the research on Lincoln Heights. So, okay.
Yeah, well, most streets are named by the developers anyway, except for when they started doing in the urban renewal, when they did Martin Luther King Estates, as they were doing that because it was in the 70s and the brothers had already passed. Council was able to say, hey, this is what we would like for those particular streets to be named. And same as when they did Mariana Terrace. When you have a development, then there's an opportunity for the development to come before council and say, do you want to name these particular streets? Same as what was done with Centennial and naming it Dantzler. But streets that were here in the beginning, Metash named after the farm that was there. The other ones, could be almost anybody's guess except for, Matthews Drive. That was done because of
well, Bill's is named after, it was named for a reason.
well, I mean, they all were, but I'm just saying, unless you really know.
Okay.
But how do we know that Miss Clark, do you have a phone number for her? I mean, we don't have to do that, but I'm just saying we can move on and hopefully she will come on.
I do have a phone number.
Did you give her a time?
Yes, I told her 5:30 and I actually physically spoke with her to make sure. I told her to call me when she got the email address. And I used a public hearing email address that I got from ICRC.
Okay, well, we'll move on and maybe she will eventually come on. If not, we'll just have her come back and speak at the next meeting. Perhaps we will have some information by then as to what that process is and, just so that we know and be able to tell her as to why we will or will not. Mayor, you had something for Miscellaneous?
Already talked about it. It was about the junk cars, but I figured y'all put it on there just in case something came up, but you've already discussed it.
All righty. Does anybody else have anything they would? Oh, hi, Mr. Casson. How are you? Mr. Casson, how you doing? He's with ODOT. So is he speaking here or economic development?
Economic development.
Oh, okay. Well, then let's go ahead and get a motion to adjourn the law committee.
I'll make that motion that we adjourn the law committee.
I second. Thank you all. So now do we need to go out or we just stay in? We're going to do 5
I say
minutes?
stay in and take 5 minutes. I don't think we go out.
All right.
All right.
All right, Steve. So you can put up there you go. Mr. Casson, we're taking a 5-minute break, okay?
That's fine.
All right.
I just wasn't sure how long it would take to load.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
One more minute, friends. One more minute.
On the verge of leaving the hospital is
Oh. Oh. Mr. Casson. Kaysen. Did I pronounce your name right? Is it Kaysen?
It's any way you want to say it, but
No, how should we pronounce it?
I mispronounce a lot of stuff, so you can pronounce it any way you want. I say Casson because of the A being that way. I mean,
All right, Mr.
but I'm not
Casson.
saying that's right or wrong.
Did you
As those
want
caissons-
to, did you want
Yeah.
us to share that, what you sent earlier? Or did you
That's
wish you
basically
share
was
something
talking
else?
points. No, that's fine. That was basically my talking points.
Okay. Good.
of
Then
the
we'll just let
upcoming
you-
work. I mean, I just thought I'd share that with you guys so you would see it
Okay.
beforehand.
All right.
Has everybody been healthy?
Yes, I have.
Good. Glad to hear it.
So we're waiting on LeBron and Phyllis.
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So we're not waiting on anyone. We're ready to get started.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's 6:32. Okay. Are you ready, Miss Lisa?
Yes, ma'am.
The Village of Lincoln Heights Economic Development Committee meeting Monday, October the 5th, 2020 at 6:32 has officially been called to order. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Linda Childs Jeter,
Present.
Vice Mayor Jeannie Stinson,
Present.
Councilman Laverne Mitchell,
Present.
Councilwoman, I'm sorry, Laverne
That's okay.
Mitchell,
That's okay.
Councilwoman Phyllis Baber. No response. We have 3 who are present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna let Mrs. Councilwoman Mitchell's prayer take hold to this meeting so we can move forward. Thank you for that. Accepting the previous meeting minutes of September the 8th, 2020. Hope we've had a chance to look at them. I need a motion to accept with any necessary corrections or corrections. Do I have a motion?
Well, Miss Jeter, I guess I was going through the minutes and I did not see where it said that I had entered the meeting. So if, no, we probably can't get the exact time, but I'd like the minutes to reflect that I did come
It
in.
says at roll call, 4 present at time of roll call, there's a quorum. Councilwoman, okay, was not present. She
Oh, I
did-
see it.
she did attend
7:21.
at 7:21.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is there.
All right.
Anything else? Did anybody else find something that needs to be
Motion to
corrected?
accept
Motion
any
to accept,
corrections.
motion to accept, is that a second?
I will second. I will second. I unfortunately, I have not reviewed the minutes, but I'll accept them with any needed corrections.
Okay, it's been moved and second to accept the minutes with any needed corrections. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Motion passed. Okay, I would like to introduce to some and bring forward to others, Mr. Chris Kaysen, who is from the Transportation Engineer with ODOT.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I know this has been a long project. It's been a cumbersome task, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay.
It's going to come pretty fast and pretty quick here with these last items. Let's say the contractor has passed the current scheduled extended completion date. So the contractor is on damages. So everything's going to happen pretty quick and kind of not be so seamless, to say. There might be some pains a little bit, but the intent is to get the entire project to final surface, final safety items, all signs up and before winter hits. So right now, as of the main line 75 is in final pavement configuration. The lanes, our markings are where the final markings will be. We're still on southbound is all intermediate pavement. There's a majority of the northbound final surface up through Glendale Milford exit northbound. There's a portion at the south end that still needs done. There's several signs, overhead trusses northbound that need to be done. So then there, once we get final pavement on, we'll have RPMs, final striping, rumble strips, all the safety items that go along with that. And we want to have those in place prior to snow flying. And based on temperatures, which is our biggest issue now, because it seems like we're a little colder this time of year than what we normally are. So I just got off a phone call with our deputy director, and she's requesting, as I can see in the middle of that handout that I sent earlier today, the weekend blitz, which will be this Friday and Saturday and Sunday daytime. It looks like we're going to allow, the director hasn't approved this yet, so this is all still subject to change, but I imagine it will happen because I'm also the project engineer on the 75 northbound over at Kemper, just prior at 275 off ramp, the split. We've had 4 weekends where it's been closed from Friday night, 1 lane closure, Friday night to Monday morning. And the backup is reached just a little bit north of Glendale Milford on Saturday day somewhat. So I anticipate the director will approve that based on the analysis of that project, the backup that has happened, which is, it's an interference, it's a hindrance, but we also are, we have made notifications. Southbound will be notifications. So there will be a queue system in place where the message boards, like for those 4 weekends, we actually had message boards in Kentucky stating that, it's down to 2 lanes, please seek alternate routes where they could go 71 north. We had a message board just at Paddock Road where it would give the queue length. They could get off at 562. So there's, and then we're going to have the same thing in place for this weekend if it happens. That's what we're asking for. So, and that'll give us daytime temperatures. It's supposed to be good. Never hit 50 at night, so we can pave daytime and nighttime. And our intent is to hopefully have the majority, 95% of southbound done this weekend, paving wise. So there may be a couple of shifts after that, but more locally towards Lincoln Heights. Signs were put out today for the signals. They went on flash today. So later this week, hopefully late Wednesday, maybe a little bit earlier, and that depends on the temperatures. Those signals will go into operation and it'll go into permanent configuration, all lanes open on intermediate. So those signals will come online. It'll go operational. The ramps, basically they want to pave Shepherd surface yet in daytime. So the full configuration will give them the operation to be able to do that with least inconvenience to the public because there'll be additional lanes rather than just 1 lane in each direction. So, which, I had on here 10-9. This may be pushed 1 week, which it probably will, which is this Friday. They want to originally open up the off ramp that goes into Wendy's would be shifted over to the concrete ramp next to Yellow, adjacent Shepherd Avenue. I mean, it would come into that new light. That may be pushed 1 week based on them having a paving blitz this weekend. We haven't worked out yet. 1 week later, we would also open ramp Z, the big ramp, concrete ramp to the industrial park in Lincoln Heights.
So which one is ramp?
Ramp Z is southbound, where the new bridge is, where the southern flyover was. It's only southbound. You would actually get off like you're getting off of Glendale Milford, and you would have a collector to go straight through, and actually you can have the option to get off at what I call Ramp Z and Vision, or you can actually get back on southbound 75 and get off at Shepherd if you want.
Oh, okay.
So you have both options, but the opening of Ramp Z will be, without the opening of Vision, is really not not a hindrance and not a gain, but it is something for people to get used to. We're going to put a PCMS up that, you know, trucks use, southbound to Vision Way to get to the Lincoln Heights Industrial Park.
So Vision is
So
the
we're working
old
towards
Newman Way? I'm sorry, Vision is the old Newman Way?
Vision is actually the short connector from Lincoln Heights to Newman Way, the bridge over Interstate 75.
Okay,
And when it goes down and tees into the intersection, that's Vision. Yeah. So we're working towards getting the truck traffic off Magnum.
Thank you.
Manhattan. So, and we still are going to mill and fill that and resurface that portion, you know, bring it back up to a better condition than what we've deteriorated it to. Do some pavement repairs also. There's some actual areas that need full depth pavement repair on that stretch. So that's coming, and I'm sure your residents will like, you know, truck traffic being moved onto, you know, southbound. You would actually get off at Vision, Ramp Z, and go into the industrial park. Northbound, you'll get off at Shepherd, go straight across Newman, up to Vision, and actually go into your industrial park. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight, and I'd like to work with the mayor the best way to actually reach out to the industrial park. I mean, we're going to put portable changeable message signs up for that change, and, you know, we'll put no trucks on at the intersection where we're building a new intersection. But I'd like to actually, you know, reach out, have some assistance from you all to actually get the message out to the businesses that, hey, this is the new route. You know, for 3 years, we've been using this route, which is, you know, not acceptable in the future. So this will be the new route. So that's one thing. So that's probably going to be delayed 1 week based on the weekend blitz. And it might push the Glendale Milford back 1 week, which is on here for 10/17, just following, which the contractor will, you know, there's only one more light. Well, actually, there's temporary light signals. Those will all go away, and the new signals will be powered up, and we'll pave that, stripe it into final configuration. So there'll be additional lanes, turn lanes, and we'll get that into final configuration, and then they'll be able to pave final surface and get all the final pavement markings on by the end of the month, hopefully. So there'll be less congestion. And if we can get the new ramp northbound, from northbound that's always been closed, the little concrete ramp northbound to Glendale Milford, that signal will go active. So in other words, when you keep going around today to Glendale Milford, where the light is today, across from Newman Way, that'll be a right turn only. It'll take the little bit of, the intersection will operate more efficiently due to the capacity of taking the cross movement away. So Glendale Milford will flow better. You'll have additional lanes, you'll have additional turn lanes onto the ramp. So, I mean, it's coming together. It's been a long process, but the goal is to actually get everything up and running by winter. The only thing that we see as a project that won't be complete this winter is the bridge painting of the beams. We're just running out of weather on the bridge painting of the beams, which they'll get as much done as they can this year, and it'll go to next year. So it'll, you know, the only time they'll be able to actually paint those will be at night with nightly lane closures. They'll be, you know, once, unless you're out there at night, you won't ever see them in, you know, interruption of traffic, which is a good thing. So Let's see. The other thing that's coming up is on Mangham, in front of the wellness center, there's some very deteriorated pavement that needs repaired. Well, and we're going to do that full depth.
Oh, thank you.
So there's going to be a little inconvenience of a small closure to do that because it's full width, full length, and it's right where the new road comes in, but local traffic will still be able to get through. Wendy's will still have access. We're going to build the majority of Magnum around its relocated area and still main traffic on Old Magnum where the signal is now and how it's functioning now. So there'll just be a small tie-in portion where we'll need to actually technically close it, but local traffic can still get there. It'll be a little bit inconvenience, but it'll end up being a better product for the village. And that pavement is it's where all the water line, the utilities, there's a gas line in there, there's a sanitary line in there, and that pavement there's just no way to salvage that pavement, and it needs to come out. And I think it'll give the village a better product in the future with less maintenance.
So Chris, when you say that, if
So-
someone was trying to turn into,
Miss Mitchell.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If someone was trying to turn into the, where Taco Bell used to be, is
Yeah.
it, the repair is beyond that point going north?
Yes.
Okay, so if push comes to shove, staff from the health center could go through the back gate if necessary, if that would make it better.
Yeah,
There's a back way in.
that's one option, but that's one option, but you know, we're officially probably going to put a detour up Stephan to Wayne and back to Shepherd. But if somebody happens to come through, they can still make it from one end to the other and still be able to get through because they'll still have to flag it, you know, maintain it. Still has to be maintained for local traffic. There is no way,
Okay.
not allowed to, because you have businesses in there to actually, you know, close and just say, boom, you're closed off. They're not allowed.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to say it's not an inconvenience
Mhm.
because there's going to be times where some of it's a little bit on gravel in between and one lane, you know, in one direction. But I mean, from a technical standpoint, one, the truck traffic will already be moved over to Division. So the truck traffic goes away. Prior to that actually happening, the truck traffic goes away. So it'll only be local individuals that need access to the health center, you know, individuals, you know, to the Wendy's. I believe there's a new chicken place in there.
Right, that's it.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So those businesses will have access.
Okay.
For the few days that it's technically closed, it'll be an inconvenience, and I do apologize for that in advance. And there should be putting flat sheet signs up on each end of Magnum. So you might get some questions from the locals. So I'm just bringing this up so everybody's aware. And if you want to send them my way, you know, for questions, please do. But there should be some signs that actually go up on each end of Magnum of a future technical closure, but businesses are still going to have access. I mean, we're doing everything we can to minimize the impact time, but we want to give the village the best product possible.
Okay, is that it? I have
Pretty much.
a question that I've talked to Mr. Dukes and to the mayor about, and that is Shumar. Shumar seems to be a little narrow, and people coming around there having issues with that. You know, someone coming in, someone coming out. It's kind of difficult to do that. So is there anything that you can take a corrective action on to make it better?
On Shumar, that's where it tees into actual relocated Magnum.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe, I'd have to look, and I'm not going to say it off the top of my head, but I believe, isn't Shumar the same width as what Magnum is? I have to look, and I can get back with you about it.
Mr.
What do you
Dukes,
mean they have?
Well,
Mr.
well,
Mr.
I
Dukes,
think,
yeah.
yes,
Go ahead.
ma'am. I think it has to do more with the way the radiuses are at that intersection. It makes it kind of difficult that connection there, being that Shoemart kind of comes to a series of curves into Mangum that is in a series of curves. So it's a lot going on there that could, that's confusing to the residents and could be a potential safety issue moving forward once it's reopened.
I was on it today, and I could probably say one thing that is missing majorly is an actual center line stripe. Now I know it's, I think it's 11-foot lanes, which that's what Magnum is, 11-foot lanes. And I wish they would have designed 12-foot lanes, because I was looking at it. But I would say probably one of the items that once they get, the intent is to actually get the stop from Shoemart to Magnum is actually to be a 90 to the intersection. So you have sight distance this way. And that's why the curves are there. For them to be, because typically a residential street does not have center line striping. I think a center line striping would clarify the direction of travel. Do you know what I mean through the curves? I think that would, we can try that first. As far as a center line stripe, a double yellow around till it's tangent back to. And I think, that would be your item of, you're driving down left double edge line. So you would stay within the left double edge line until you come to the stop bar for Shoemart to Magnum. Now, one thing that I can see that might be an issue at that point,
What?
in our current configuration, there is a sharp curve coming around on existing Magnum onto the where it's coming around. And I could see that people would actually stop there. It's kind of a sight distance issue where once we go to the final configuration, it'll be more of a tangent stretch for a sight distance. I noticed when I was sitting there that I saw a semi delivery truck coming around that had just come out of the Wendy's. I know it was in the Wendy's, and he had come around, and it was like he was going straight north, and then all of a sudden he actually, made a left in the sharp curve that it is in the temporary configuration it is now. I mean, that's what popped in my head when I was looking at it, and I was out there today, because I was making sure they had put the signs up for activating the signals here coming up. But I will definitely put the center line striping on there, which would give you a reference of where you need to traverse through the curves and actually put you at a 90 intersection with stop sign and stop bar to look left and right. Now you have to remember, the traffic on Magnum will go down substantially, in my opinion. Based on when we relocate that ramp, all of the Reading traffic that gets off there now will actually be on the ramp, make a left to go to Reading, will not be at that intersection unless they want to go back and go to the Wendy's. So I think as far as, what you're telling me based on being confusing, I would say basically it's a pavement marking issue.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess once the new configuration is kind of put in place to take, to give a better sight line, that may be better. But now, where will the new traffic signal? Is there going to be a new traffic signal to replace the one on Mangum in front of the Taco Bell in that area?
No, that intersection goes away, basically. The only traffic you will have.
So there's not going to be
not,
anything to slow the traffic down.
You'll have stop sign. You'll have a driveway, and you have tangential traffic, basically, that you can see left and right to get in and out. Same as if you do for Stephan Avenue, all of those. right now you have interstate traffic coming in there. You won't have the interstate traffic at that ramp goes away. So you'll have less, anybody that you won't have the truck traffic from your industrial park. That goes over on Vision down to Newman, back to either Shepherd or Glendale Milford. So your traffic will be a lot less, and actually, if you'll have your truck deliveries in your other places, you have your traffic to your wellness center and stuff like that, and anybody local, but you won't have the interstate traffic at that point. So there's not a signal justification for that.
So how do you get to Laughlin?
How do I get to Laughlin?
Yes.
Well, you can get off at Shepherd. You can go Shepherd back to the east towards Reading and up Wyoming. You can go down 75 and get off at Wyoming. You can actually get off at Shepherd and go right and go down to Anthony Wayne.
So if I'm leaving Lincoln Heights and I want to go to Laughlin, the old way used to be right there in front of Yellows. There's no street through there at all. Not gonna have a street.
Well, what we're doing today is the replacement for the yellow. Basically, your Magnum goes around to the intersection of Shepherd.
Okay,
So-
it had to do with going to Laughlin. That's all it had to do with going there. If I want to go to Laughlin High School, I have to go all the way around about and coming that way.
Same as you do today. Because West Foyer is gone.
From,
Yeah.
Can't you get on the highway?
Yeah, you can get on, get off. Yeah.
Mhm.
Madam Chair, I got a question to ask them. So,
Yes.
so Chris, how far, you mentioned about paving Shepherd Lane, how far down are you gonna pave down?
We're
If I'm
just
down
past.
Shepherd,
Yeah, down Shepherd, which would be to the west.
okay. So you're
Uh,
gonna just go right where that light is at? Is that as far
we-
as you're gonna go?
We disturbed the pavement, where the full depth was. So we'll go a little bit past that and make a butt joint, and actually we'll mill some of that off. So we go, you don't want joints on joints. So you have to go
Right.
further past. So say like 50
Okay.
feet past that. So you would have a lap in your water joints that would make your pavement. So it seals your pavement off.
Okay, so I had another question to ask. I know with the old configuration, we had, even now, we have a lot of traffic to the bottom of Shepherd running to Wayne, and we had always talked about possibly putting a signal light there, which would probably be a collaboration between Laughlin and Lincoln Heights. Is there any funding as far as ODOT that they could give or suggest?
Under this project, no, but you can reach out to Breanne Hetzel and Tommy Arnold, and there might be funding out there because they can do the signal studies also, which your village engineer can actually do the studies to actually justify it based on the traffic. And then I'm not sure if there's some OKI grants out there or if ODOT has some grants, but that would fall under a safety program, and I would be hard pressed not to believe that there are not funds out there, because the safety is the big issue, and that would fall under a safety program, and they go for local stuff like that also.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Do you have Tommy's number and Breanne's number?
I think so. You have it? If you have it, I can write it down.
Not on top of me, but I'll forward you the information.
Okay, and one more thing, as far as you were wanting to reach out to the businesses, how are you wanting to do it? Via email?
Do you have an email that you send out to them for, like a bulk email?
I think our tax department does. Mr. Dukes, doesn't she
Yeah,
have?
yes.
Yeah.
Miss Peterson would have that list, and if you had a flyer or some information you would want her to pass along for you, she could do that.
Yeah, if you
I'll
could get that to us before Okay,
Yeah, I will put that together
all
and,
right.
that will, say, be a great benefit for the trucking industry.
Okay.
I have a question.
And would I,
Yes,
yes,
So are we getting the walls? Are we getting walls or no?
when you say walls, there's
The
two
walls
different,
as they're going up down the highway, like, right there where you don't see Lachlan, the homes, are we getting some of those?
no.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank
I don't want 'em.
you.
We, basically we're putting the last touches on it and we're down to the little nitty gritty, but the noise walls were voted on in different fashions and different meetings. And there was not any takers that wanted it. And I wouldn't recommend it in my opinion either, because it would only cut off businesses to,
mhm.
exposure to Wendy's and your other places.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions, Vice Mayor? Okay, I want to thank you for coming out and updating us and doing what you do. Okay,
I apologize for the inconvenience that it has been, and I appreciate everything that you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
old business, Mr.
Miss-
Dukes.
Ms. Charles
Yes.
Streeters.
Yes,
I was just gonna suggest when the mayor reaches out to those businesses about the trucks, that maybe the sheriff go with her. That way they are aware that those trucks should not be on that road. That's it.
okay. All right, did you get that, Mayor? The mayor and the vice mayor can talk to each other about that.
Yes,
You
we
get,
will.
you got that, yeah.
We're-
Okay,
We're gonna
Mr.
put some orange signs up that say no trucks allowed in the interim
Okay.
and have directional. So. Sorry. to
I like that.
All right, Mr. Dukes, it's your turn, old business.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jeter. We've been talking about the 20-year development plan for, several months. And, the goal was to, identify funding sources to do the combined land use, transportation, and economic development master plan. It requires really to be a good plan and to attract some national firms to come out and assist the village and give it its best shot. It's going to require between 150 to 200,000. Now, as you know, the village was successfully received a mini planning grant for $20,000 for the land use element that the county Department of Planning and Development will handle. But that's kind of pause for a minute while we work out a few other things that we need to handle. But while we're looking to at least do the land use element, there's no harm in still looking at potential funding sources for the other two areas of the plan, which would be which you would still be able to add to the land use, because you'll look at all the land use plan that the county will be doing under the mini planning grant will deal mostly with zoning and the zoning ordinances and things of that nature, land use classifications. The area of land use that the overall plan will look at will begin to look at the different housing and commercial and industrial types that would be a good fit for the village, and identify those potential areas in the village where we could create a critical mass and a catalyst for continued development. So one of the things that we can, consider, the village has to consider is, how much funding can we dig within the village coffers to to identify towards the total required funds. And then the other thing, which is item 4, is what are the other potential funding sources? And speaking with Mr. Daniels, you know, regarding the support GE is beginning to offer with some projects in the community, such as the community garden and the mural in the Serenity Park. I think, you know, it wouldn't hurt, and this is something I've had a conversation with Mr. Daniels, to see if GE would be open to offering some funding towards the combined master plan for the community as well. So I just wanted to kind of present this to the Economic Development Committee to just make sure that you're amenable, to make sure that you're aware of this. Would, you know, it would be a benefit to the community if they would kind of ante up for, you know, a nice portion of funding for that plan. There hasn't been any discussion as of yet, but I've asked Mr. Daniels in his discussions with GE to see if there would be any interest. I know he informed me that GE has, GE Aviation has quite a pot of funding that they're looking to do something with throughout the communities that surround GE. And this was just an idea and suggestion that I presented to him. So that's basically what I wanted to get before you today, just to let you know that's a good potential source, and it'll be a good partnership where GE could probably participate in the process and help attract new industry into the community as well, and other supportive businesses and housing units to the community. So I think that'll be a great opportunity for a renewed partnership with GE and the village. And just wanted to kind of put that before you and let you know. And I'll be, you know, working with Mr. Daniels and see where they are. And you know, hopefully he'll be able to keep you informed once he returns to, I guess maybe we can see if he has something to add at the upcoming council meeting or not. But I just wanted to put this before you all.
Madam Chair.
Yes, I see you, Ms. Mitchell. Go ahead.
I have a question. I guess I'm kind of concerned, Mr. Deuce, because I hear you saying Mr. Daniels. And so now is Mr. Daniels representing the village of Lincoln Heights and council when he goes and talks to whomever at GE, or is he doing the Heights movement? Because I would think that before he would go and discuss anything about the village, that somewhere along the way that the mayor is with him, or there has been a conversation with council as to what we're looking to do. I mean, this is the first time that I've heard that the village has in any capacity tried to talk with GE. I mean, I know about, you know, the things with the garden, and I know about, you know, whatever assistance they've done with the mural. But if we're talking about a plan like this, I don't think Mr. Daniel should be going in there without.
I don't think that's what he's doing, Ms. Levine.
No,
Okay, well, I'm just
he
trying to
explained-
No, that's not what he's doing.
Oh, no, one at a time.
Okay, so
Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I just want to make sure, because that's what it sounded like you were saying to me. And I just want to be sure, you know, because as we start talking about this plan, we really need to, I would say, wait until we get the next village manager.
Of course, Madam Chair, Vice Mayor, if you'd like to say something.
Go ahead
Madam
on,
Chair.
Vice Mayor, go ahead on.
Oh. Ms. Mitchell, I don't think that was what Mr. Daniels was doing. I think that, I know that's not what he was doing. And I believe that's why he shared the information with Mr. Dukes, so that he could take over that end of that. Whatever he had conversation he had about whatever, if it had something to do with the Heights movement, once he heard something that had to do with the village, I think that's when he shared that information. I'm
Okay.
not for sure because he's not in this meeting, but I'm almost positive he would have shared that had he not been here. I don't think he's trying to speak for the village.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
Just like
say,
anything, when any of us are somewhere, who are we representing? We representing the village. And if somebody mentions something, we pass on that information, right? That's what we
Right,
do,
but
right?
Yeah, it just seemed to be that there was conversation with whoever at GE. And so I'm just wanted to make it clear. I just need to understand, that the particular people are there who need to be there. That's all.
okay, well, for this particular project, you do need information, and right now we're at a loss for the meat of what we're talking about. Until you bring the whole thing to us, then it's going to create a conversation, and it may be a wrong conversation. So I suggest that whatever he has to give to us, he bring it and tell us about it. We're not trying to go away from any funding from GE or any other organization. It's just that when we're out there and we're talking to institutions about the village of Lincoln Heights, then we are representing Lincoln Heights. There was quite a bit of confusion about what was being done across the street, and I got the calls about it, and also I got yelled at about it, and I had to explain to them, you're talking to the wrong person. But it was done as if it was the village of Lincoln Heights doing it. So it needs to be clarity. And right now, there are people who are absolutely angry with me about the police not being present there. So if we don't give out good information, then this is what you get. I mean, it's on Facebook. So I said, I'm not a Facebook person. I don't like Facebook. But I'm being discussed because the police didn't get out the car as they were riding around to come over and say hi to whoever was in the park, So that's a problem. I said for them to see Mr. Dukes. He can explain it better than I could. But I am getting the blame for that, by the way. So we need clarity. If Mr. Daniels is working on the project, bring it to us. Let us understand what's going on as to what's going on. Simple as that. And I do have a problem with that.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Dukes.
Yes, ma'am. The thing was being that, they already have the audience with GE. It was just that they were gonna see if they were, the idea, was amenable to them. And if they are, then at that point, Mr. Daniels would engage representatives of the village in the communication to begin to talk about how that would look and how it would work and the funding levels, So it wasn't that he was going to talk about it with GE and do the negotiations and lay out the groundwork. He was just going to, do the ask, for the funding and see if they would be interested in providing some of their available funding towards the much needed master plan.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mayor.
So I'm good. I'm glad that Mr. Daniels is out there finding out the resources, but as a economic development committee, it's always good for all of us to know what's going on so that we don't make motions to do things and we don't have all the information. I myself, and I know a lot of folks in the village would like to see a partnership with GE, but it's just that we all want to be on the same accord and know what's going on. And hey, if you can find out who the main person to reach out to over there, hey, that's a good thing.
Okay.
But
and Mayor, Madam Chair, and Mayor, yeah, and this is that's what I was informing Mr. Daniels, that this is the attempt to bring it to the forefront. It hasn't occurred yet. This was just to kind of put it on the table at the Economic Development Committee to let you know this was the thought process, and to engage the committee and the council in this conversation. Now, I guess, and that's what he is going to be doing, is first of all trying to see if they're amenable. but he did want to inform the council first and foremost through the Economic Development Committee that, you know, he and I had talked about the potential of this. And secondly, if there is a potential and you all are agreeable to it, then he's going to identify, that's going to be the next goal, is to try to identify the people that make the funding decision and put the leadership of the village together with the leadership that controls the funding to talk about the levels and how it's going to look. And you know, again, it's a village project, so the village would be taking the lead. The GE would be just a funding source for it. Now, as a funding source, they, you know, may want to be a part of any committees and things of that nature to just kind of bring to the table some of their industrial understanding and expertise as to what type of industries would be a good fit to bring in and continue to build on their supplier base and things of that nature. So that would be the only thing I would see needs to occur, is once, if they say, yeah, we could provide the funding, then that's where the communication between the leadership and them begins. And if they say, well, it's outside of what we had this funding established for, but maybe there's some other pots of funding. So it's just the beginning of the conversation, if that's okay.
But we also need to be made aware in case we run into some of those same people and we're talking, and that may come up. So we need to be made aware. Knowledge is great. Also, Ford is over there. And there are people from the village of Lincoln Heights that actually work at Ford. So that could be looked at too, and any other industry around can be looked at. But let me say this, Mr. Dukes, this is not the first time this has happened. It goes on every so many years that different people, organizations try to get the GE to partner with them to bring money into the community. You know, so it's not new. What Mr. Daniels is not doing is new, but I wish him luck with that. Just keep us informed about what you're doing, so that if I run into some folks over there and they start to talk, I have some knowledge about it.
Yes, ma'am. And this is the first of it. I don't even think he hasn't even had the conversation with them yet, as far as would they be amenable to providing some funding for the plan. So
Okay.
Look, Madam Chair, I'm looking forward to the conversation myself, because I would like to know, there may be some individuals that I know throughout Hamilton County that may be able to support. We're in a network, and we're in a networking thing where it's who you know that make things happen. So I would be glad to be a part of the conversation. I may know some individuals out there that's doing things in other municipalities that may know someone in GE. Like Ms. Jeter says, we've tried it before, but it's always good. And I appreciate Mr. Daniels for taking that step, but we just like to know and partner up with whomever to make it happen.
Okay, sounds good. And I guess, Mr. Daniels, I guess, couldn't make it to the meetings tonight, but he would have been able to kind of share with you a little more. But that's a conversation that we can continue to have, and I'll make sure I, see if I can't engage him in an email conversation to let him know this is, what came out of tonight's meeting, to make sure that, moving forward, if there are any discussions regarding the partnership with the village, that the leadership has an opportunity to be at the table.
Vice Mayor?
Okay. At what moment if you're having a discussion with somebody, that you inform the council?
Well, I guess.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking the committee, Mr. Dukes.
Okay.
At what time should you have it? If I'm
Yes.
talking about something that represents a particular industry, or if I am part of that industry, then you need to know right away.
So I need to call you on the phone if somebody said I had $500 million that I want to do something with the village. We sitting down somewhere having dinner or something and having a discussion, and they say that's what they want to do. I need to call you right away and let you know that. or
It's
wait
a-
till the next meeting?
It's a
Or
discussion.
call you
that's
right
all.
away? Do I need to call you right away or wait till the next meeting?
You may do whatever you want to do with it.
I want to know what's the proper protocol, because from my understanding with Mr. Daniels, because I feel like he's being attacked. And no,
Well,
he's
he-
not here to defend himself.
Well, you
but
may feel that
He
way,
called
but
me
he's
maybe
not being
48
attacked.
hours ago, said that. We haven't had a meeting since he had that conversation. We have not had a meeting.
But
since he
Mr.
had a
Mr.
conversation.
Are you gonna stop it for a minute? Thank you.
Well, I
Mr.
would like
Duke-
to finish. I don't get to finish. I'll stop and let you go ahead.
Yeah,
I don't need
Mr.
to finish.
Mr. Dukes brought that conversation here, and I don't want you to be heated about Mr. Daniels and he sent that information through Mr. Dukes. And we're just saying that we'd like to know what's
And he
going
just
on.
told us.
You know,
Mr. Dukes just told us. But
Well-
no, that wasn't good enough.
no,
We
it
need
wasn't,
to
it
have
wasn't,
that
it wasn't,
conversation.
okay.
And Madam
All
Chair,
right.
Ain't nothing nobody did behind
No. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I'm
If
gonna do
you-
whatever I want to do, Linda.
Yes, you can.
I should
All
be
right.
able to say whatever I need to say.
And you said it, that's enough. Now we're moving
You
on to
can't,
the
you
next
can't
thing.
quiet me.
What
you
else do
can't.
you want? Somebody
What
else
do
want to take
you
over this
want,
meeting?
Linda? What do you want?
Information is necessary.
And he just brought it to you.
And
And that wasn't good enough. You want to know it right then and there when they had a conversation with whoever.
anyone else, please? Yes,
I
And-
don't have anything.
maybe you can satisfy. what
Madam Chair
Comment.
and council committee, the thing is, it wasn't Mr. Daniels having this conversation. This is what I mentioned to Mr. Daniels, being that they have already begun to gain an audience with GE for the support of the garden, the support of the mural. So they're already looking at getting some funding and assistance. So, looking at the importance of the master plan and the real need for it, I suggested to him or asked him, could he begin that conversation to see if they would be interested? And that's why I wanted to bring it to the committee tonight, just to inform you that he and I had this conversation, and that so that you will be aware that if he comes back and say, gee, you would be amenable, then that's when we begin to have the conversation with the council as to say, okay, how are we doing this? I mean, if, then we begin to add the input, then we begin to bring everybody to the table. This right here was just to kind of to inform people that this is the conversation that he and I had, so that, he wanted to make sure, the two of us wanted to make sure that the council and the Economic Development Committee, through the Economic Development Committee, was a part of the process from the start. And that's what this is tonight. It's not saying that GE is gonna provide the funding, but we just wanted to provide you all an update to say, well, there's a potential.
Okay,
And-
well, all I said was that you need to inform us in case I run into someone there and the conversation starts up. That's all I said. Be informed. And
Well-
you never know who I am going to run into from GE. So it's wonderful what you're doing, but just let us know. I didn't get enough from what you said. I'm sorry, Ms. Mitchell.
Right. I think, Mr. Dukes, the way that you presented it was as if Mr. Daniels had already been there. You did not introduce it as you and he had a conversation, and you said, basically, when you go see them, you might want to bring this up. That's not how I received it. I don't think that's how it was presented. And that's why I asked the question, if Mr. Daniels is already over there, if he knows that he's going to meet with them, to me, there'll be a conversation, not just with you, but also with the mayor to say, hey, I'm getting ready to go see, because I've done the same thing with the mayor. Mayor, I'm getting ready to meet with so-and-so about something else, but I can bring this up if you want me to, because it'll probably come up. But it just seemed as if Mr. Daniels had already gone and
That's not the
got
case.
the, well, I'm just saying, just the way that you presented, that's how I received it. So, and I don't have a problem with, the conversation that you and he had, but that's not how it was presented. That's all. or not how I received it.
Okay, well, Madam Chair, if I may, Ms. Mitchell, yeah, it was like, I was saying that being that he's already in communication with the people at GE and they've informed him that they have this pot of money. I told him, well, hey, here's a potential for them to,
Right. That's
assist
fine.
with the funding for the study. I don't know if you heard the conversation up at the field the other day at Memorial Field, but he was talking about some of that funding they want to look at potentially, I guess managing, maintaining some of the properties there, like maybe helping with Memorial Field or doing something
No,
to.
I didn't hear that piece.
Yeah, well, that's where the conversation began, and he told me about the money, and I said, well, it would be great if they want to assist us in just different areas, and they until the village has a robust implementable plan in place, then everything is just really spinning its wheel. But when we can put a plan in place that's implementable and identify the funding and all the players, then we have a better chance of going through the years and implementing that plan incrementally over the next 20 years. So that was just a discussion, and he was going to come here tonight at the meeting, and we were going to talk about it. And then from there, he was going to go, in his next conversation with GE, see if they would be amenable to using some of those funds to assist us with the study.
Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to the next thing, please. Project timeline. Is that for you, Mr. Dukes? I believe all
Okay,
this,
well,
yeah.
Yeah, that was just, yes, ma'am. That was just the, project timeline for the study. Once it's fully funded, be 6 to 12 months for a firm to come in and conduct the study where, they'll lay out the project schedule and the, work with the leadership and to determine the amount of, workshops and public input meetings to conduct, so that the public will have a fair opportunity to be a part of the process. So
Mr. Dukes,
the area of the village. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you. What happened to CDC? Because I thought that they were fully engaged in trying to do this. They've actually talked to someone from GE before. What is going on with the CDC?
Well, that was before my time, and I haven't had any conversation with the CDC as to what their plans are. But I know, the village needs its own master plan. Aside, it can include, some of the partnerships and collaborations necessary to bring about the change that the village would like to see, the residents. But as far as what they're doing, I really don't know what they're doing. I know this
But the economic development chair was actually working with them to get some of that over here from GE and other sources. So I don't know what happened to the thing. It just stopped. Anyone give me an answer for that? No one knows? Mayor?
I don't know anything.
Vice Mayor, do you know what happened to the CDC? Because they were actually talking to someone from GE. They did a study, complete study out here as to what the needs are, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And it just broke apart. Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah, that was through the CBI, that the two ladies met with different individuals throughout the community. But if you recall, Ms. Goodwin Williams had mentioned at one of the meetings that the CDC had pulled out from us and that they were working in another community. If you go back and check the minutes, I think it was at perhaps a council meeting that was said. She said that they, because we they presented something and we didn't want to do it. And she specifically said that they were working with another community.
Was that the lady from Xavier University
With
or?
the CBI,
Yeah,
Valerie, I believe it was Valerie Daly. And yeah, one of them was from
from
Xavier,
Xavier.
who did the
The
survey
yeah, the
community
study and survey.
that was
Yeah.
connected to GE.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
When I spoke with Miss Goodwin Williams last week, because I was asking if she could pass off some information just in case. I didn't know who was the chair of the economic development. I had mentioned the CDC because we were talking about the garden and what Mr. Daniels had did with cleaning it up. And she had mentioned to me that that area belonged or was an MOU or something signed in an agreement with somebody else and that they couldn't do that. I said, well, where are the CDC people? Where are they? We haven't heard anything. And she said that they were still in existence, but I did ask, where are they? And if somebody cleaned up the garden and made it look nice and pretty again, why would they be upset? So I'm not for sure.
Yeah, I saw what Mr. Daniels, though, they're working for he and a group of people and doing a good job. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, so yeah, so the property does belong to a former resident, but so the MOU is between that property owner and the CDC.
CDC.
And so I think that, although they did do some cleaning up there, they have all kind of stuff all over the sidewalk, the wood from the garden bed. So they need to go back and try to, clean that so people can walk down the sidewalk. But I just want to make sure that with this MOU that there is no liability with the village. Because I think most people don't know that property probably belongs to somebody else. They see us over there, so they assume that we, the village, has something to do with it. I just want to make sure that we find out what the CDC's intention is with us. And I will repeat, now we don't have an MOU with the CDC. We have an MOU with Millennium Group that says that the Millennium Group will do grants for us, so forth. But we do not have one with the CDC, with the individuals that we were introduced to.
Okay, well, okay.
Not that I could find.
Okay, we'll move on to development of vacant lots.
Okay.
Who is that?
Well,
Excuse me, this is Phyllis Baber. I've been in this meeting for at least 45 to 50 minutes. I just want that to be part of the record, please. Thank you.
Oh, we're sorry, Ms. Babe, Councilwoman.
No problem.
Baber.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, yes, ma'am. As far as the vacant lots, my recommendation to the council is, just kind of, it would just be in the council's best interest to hold on to those lots until a plan is identified, because if you start just, selling them and letting them go, they could be critical pieces of the puzzle that would be important to the redevelopment of the village. And the difficulty in trying to get something back once it's gone into the hands of a private property owner. So I would just encourage the village to continue to control those properties until the plan is in place, because if you let them go, you may be letting some critical pieces go that will facilitate redevelopment.
And Mr. Dukes, to you, has there been some talk about selling the property? Anybody
No,
talked about, you just want
well,
to us?
Well, yeah, people are beginning to come forward and, you know, request the properties again. So, you know, that's just, you know, I want to, you know, in light of that, I want to make sure the village understood that it's in the best interest of the village to not begin to sell these properties until they've conducted that plan and that study and identify the critical pieces. Again, you know, as over the last 6 months or so, I was trying to get some maps done to identify this, but with the COVID-19, you know, many county departments, Cage is out of the office, and you know, we just haven't been able to contact them via phone. I've even stopped by Cage's office. It's closed off, no answer, no way to contact them. So I would just ask that, you know, if you could do that plan and that study, then you could begin to really see what to do with that property, because you'll look at the overall, you know, land use, and then you'll determine there may be enough lots in the village that you could incentivize redevelopment, whether it be commercial or residential. So it's just in the best interest to just kind of, you know, still delay any sales until that plan is complete.
Okay. Any questions for the village manager?
I have one.
I have my hand up.
I'm sorry,
do too.
I wasn't looking up. Actually, I'm looking for the second page to the agenda. I lost my second page.
Oh,
Okay, I don't know who was first, Ms. Stinson, Vice
Okay.
Mayor.
I kind of have to want to agree with Mr. Dukes on holding off until we have a plan, because we don't want to sell off something that is in a plan to do something different with, or doesn't go with the plan. That's all.
Okay, anyone else?
I did me. So Mr. Dukes, what have the inquiries been about? Which properties have folks been calling to inquire about?
They didn't identify. They just as I think there's on the agenda, there's a gentleman that wants to I guess inquire about the properties. He didn't identify any. He just wants to discuss vacant lots in Lincoln Heights. And then while I was in Ms. Randolph's office this evening, she received a call from another gentleman asking about what's the process for acquiring lots owned by the Lincoln Heights Land Reutilization Program. So, you know, I mean, and then, you know, there's always been interest, but you know, when people would come down to the village and speak with me about them, I would, you know, just let them know that you know, the village really needed to complete its plan to ensure that they're not giving away critical pieces of the puzzle. So,
Well, if they're inquiring about the properties, the 3 or 4 lots that we have in Martin Luther King, that plan is already done. We really should be building out the rest of those lots. Or are you saying we should not sell the lots?
they're not inquiring about that, but
Okay, but I'm just asking, if someone were to inquire,
if someone were
Mhm.
if someone were to inquire, then, you know, I think it's safe for the Economic Development Committee and the council to realize that MLK Estates, you know, the type of housing that you would like to see out there, and that would kind of, you know, be a easy decision to make.
Right. I
You
was
know,
just checking because you just said properties, and I just want to make sure that.
yeah. I just, you know, it has to just be a really scrutinized process in place, you know, when you think about letting go of properties, but an established residential subdivision like MLK Estates, that you have some additional lots to be built upon. Yes, and they are. What are those lots? 60 feet? Are they 60
Yeah,
feet
they go
wide?
anywhere from 50, 52 to 60 by 120.
Okay. Because I mean, the 40-foot lots are a thing of the past, and we definitely want to
Right.
try to begin to get away from those in certain areas. That's why the land use planning is so important to designate where the different housing densities are located.
Okay,
The Vice Mayor has her hand up, Madam Chair.
okay, thank you, Vice Mayor.
So I think maybe if somebody does call in and ask about some land, that we suggest Martin Luther King Estates and what's
Hopefully, if
available
they're
there
looking
to
to
be
build-
built on.
If they're looking to build a house, not to
That's
hold.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying this to Mr. Dukes. I guess if somebody does call, or Miss Randolph, wouldn't we suggest that?
Well, I think we would have to vet them first to see if they have the qualifications. We can
Yeah.
only ask that they submit their qualifications
Mhm.
and we could probably let them know that this is the only area, if that's the desire of the council, to say, hey, this is the only area that we would entertain at this time.
And it has to be
Is-
built according to what we want in that area.
Mhm.
Yes. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Because I'm sorry, Madam Chair. I agree with that because I do know I've been getting calls about people even today, they must be on a robocall to call us, but they were asking about the vacant houses that we got. And I instructed them to contact Mr. Duke or Miss Pope. We don't have that many, but I am getting calls. I'm getting calls about land. So we need to work
Yes,
on
ma'am.
our plan on what type of housing we want throughout the village. It would be nice if we could have a city ramen in Lincoln Heights.
Yes,
That's a
ma'am.
good vision.
And that's why we want to hold those properties so that we can assemble the land to do that, just that. And even with the vacant houses, the individual that gets them would have to have the ability to bring them up to a set standard, as opposed to, well, you got it, and that's just more and more code enforcement headache.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, anyone else? All right, new business. And under new business, if I'm looking at the right agenda, maybe it's the old one, it has the I-75 gateway. We've already talked about that. So open to the public. We had a person to call in and ask to speak tonight, Mr. Maben.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Maben had stopped by a little bit after 1 today, and I gave him the information. I required him to give me an email, and I sent the public link, Zoom link for that. So
Okay.
did
All
speak
right.
with him.
What did he say he wanted to talk to council about?
He talked mostly to Miss D. Peterson, and then Miss
Okay.
D. Peterson called me up front because it appeared as though it would be something under economic development, namely about vacant lots. That's what I got. But he had a more detailed conversation with Miss Peterson.
And did anyone ask him to speak to the manager? No one? Okay.
And
I don't know if she did because I wasn't there when she had spoken to him. I just came at the tail end when she said, yeah, this would go or may fall under economic development. Like I said, I wasn't there at the conversation beginning.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I've had a conversation with Mr. Maben, and I informed him that the village is not really, looking to part with any lots at this time specifically, except for where we just, talked about MLK Estates. But again, I told him that the village would be looking to partner with builders and developers that could actually come in and bring some, a nice mix of housing into the community. So not sure, what he was looking for today and why he wanted to speak at this meeting, but I did inform him that at this time, we're really just trying to get this plan completed so that we can identify these potentials for development and begin to petition developers that have the capacity to partner with the village to build on these lots. So not sure, did he have something specific, or he was just gonna make the ask to see if the village would be interested? So I'm not sure what it was. I was out doing a few things today outside of the office, and I didn't get a call regarding Mr. Mabing or anything. So obviously, I guess he didn't want to speak to me again about it.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Moving right along to, did someone say something? Okay. Moving along to miscellaneous business, CARES Act. Who is going to speak about the CARES Act funding appropriation?
Oh, well, I will say something. I mean, I don't know why it's on the economic development, other than it does have to be those funds that we have received have to be encumbered. I had a conversation with Mr. Dukes and Ms. Pope about making sure that it happens, because I wasn't aware. We weren't made aware of that when we first started looking at the funds. And Ms. Pope, and I don't have it in front of me, sent out an email that talked about, the update that she did. And so I asked that she separate that 229,000 so that we can see what the 75,000 was purchasing and what the 200 or the 150,000 was purchasing. But the monies have to be encumbered by October 15th. So that means we have to, if there's legislation, we definitely have to do it Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that
10 days left.
Yeah, these funds have to be
Incumbent
by the end of this year.
Okay.
So, Mr. Dukes, if you want to speak more to it.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
But I would suggest everybody, go back and look at that update that she sent, and the other one that she sent today on how to use those fundings.
Yes, Madam Chair, Ms. Mitchell. The 229 is for that's the federal funding that came directly through the county to the village based on their formula for disbursement. And that is the pot of money that has to be encumbered by October 15th. Ms. Pope has already been in communication with Mr. Desai regarding the required legislations to encumber those funds at the next council meeting on the 13th. So, and then the other pot of COVID funding would be the $169,000 that came from the CARES Act that the county commission distributed to the 40 amongst the 40 governments within the county. So that money doesn't have to be encumbered, but it has to be utilized before December 31st of this year. So, and that money is a reimbursement. So, and as Ms. Mitchell stated, Ms. Pope laid out the proposed uses of those funds to help offset some of the public safety costs.
So, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I have a question, Mr. Dukes. So, out of the money that we have received, we are giving Hamilton County Sheriff about $350,000.
From both of the pots?
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Total. And so that means that at the end of the year or at the beginning of next year, we'd have $350,000 in our general fund, because those are reimbursable, both of them, both CARES money.
Yes, ma'am. Well, the second pot is reimbursable, which She's already been in communication with the assistant administrator at the county regarding submitting the payments for the sheriff in the amount. I think 3 payments would cover the amount of that 169. So submitting that immediately, submitting those invoices immediately for reimbursement, and the other money we already have on hand, but in using it to cover the public safety costs, that too will free up the monies in the general fund that would usually, we would have to kind of dig into the general fund to fill any shortcomings of the levy. So that money will help us retain some of those funds in the general fund.
So, but are we using any of those funds, any of those from the levies money to pay for that, or are we taking it all out of general fund?
We're taking nope, we're saving in the general fund because the levy only covers so much, and there's a shortfall that the general fund has to make up each year.
Okay.
So the COVID money will just go towards that shortfall.
Okay.
So the total amount of that is 169,483. That is it.
From the board, from the commissioners.
That's the second pot of money, yes.
Yeah, from the it goes to the Hamilton County Sheriff contract.
Mm-hmm.
As well as 170 from the money.
170, $356.39.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That came on when did she send this out?
She sent that just before the meeting.
She has a September 28th date on here. This is the second time she sent it, or the first time?
Well, that's the first time. She sent it just before we went to council meeting. So we didn't really get it.
No, she didn't. Oh, council meeting last week. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
okay.
what I have asked that they do is that I just like to see it broken down, like what the 75,000 paid for, and then what the 150 or whatever, even, the way it is now on there is to me is just okay, lump sums, but I like to see, like, I'm not sure what the tax connect is. I understand what requisition routing is, but an explanation to me would be good to understand what that is.
I think Ms. Pope informed me, I don't know if you heard the conversation, Ms. Mitchell, but they're not going to do that portion of it.
What portion?
The tax connect?
Yes. So that was something to assist the tax department with taking everything going paperless. I think that kind of dealt with that, so that the people will be able to file their taxes online as opposed to having to, just come in and do it, by paper.
Okay. Well, I would like to, I guess, and maybe at the next finance committee, we just need to really talk about how much we have left, what has been spent specifically, and what else can we do now that we've got this new document that says what it can be used for. I know it stays on here, hand sanitizing stations. We haven't spent that, right? But how many is that? That 2 stations?
I think this is for 3 stations and the I guess an appropriate amount of supplies for those stations.
Okay, well, the stations are separate, and then you have the additional PPE supplies, and then we have supplies, and that's what I'm talking about, of being specific about what exactly we are spending. I'm just detailed that way. So, the hand sanitizing station, we got 3. Did we get the box kind and the additional supplies? Where did we get the supplies? What are those supplies?
Okay.
You need to see what was ordered.
Yeah, that basically,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what you
You
need.
just
to
want
see.
a breakdown. You
Uh-huh.
want an itemized breakdown.
exactly, specific.
Itemized list is correct. That,
Mhm.
yeah. All right. So we're done with that. This meeting long. Are we ready to move forward? Okay, Mayor, you want to talk about Rock the House? I hope I got that right.
Home is the rock.
Home is the Rock. Oh, I messed that up real good. Home is the Rock.
Yeah, I just want to give an update on it for Habitat. Will be this Saturday 10 to 10, and they'll be 10 Saturday. They'll be out really early getting the debris off the fence. And so Megan, she spoke at the last meeting that we had. She came and spoke, and so she'll be having her team out, but I just wanted to make sure, Mr. Duke, her request was that that we have the gates open early that morning because they're going to bring a dumpster on Memorial Field to get the weeds and debris off the fence. It looks like they've been out there treating it so far. That's basically what I wanted to say. I do know Lincoln Heights Baptist, some of their members are doing someone home that they adopted, I'll say, that day as well to do some landscaping for individual, where Habitat for Humanity, they're only going to be doing a community project. And I just wanted to announce that. And that's
Okay.
it.
And Mayor, what time are they gonna be out and need the gates open again? What time would that be?
She asked for them to have it at 7:30, but I can have Ms. Randolph verify email just to make sure. She asked for that night or that morning, but we thought it would be better for them to come that night. So the one would be inside the football field. And then we requested that they mend the hole in the fences. That was the
Okay.
other thing.
Now are they gonna bring the dumpsters the evening or in the morning? Because if they're gonna do them in the evening, we would need to coordinate so that we can be there to open it and close it back to re-secure it. Or
Right.
are they bringing them that morning and we'll be out there ahead of time?
It's basically up to you all. That's what she was speaking of when she came and spoke. She wanted to do that after Friday or either Saturday, whatever is open for you to do.
Well, yeah, we can take care of it either Friday. So if you have Ms. Randolph contact her and she give us a specific time that she would like to be able to deliver that, and then they're gonna be out there at what time on Saturday to start?
I think 8:30.
Okay, so
Mayor, she said about 7:15 because they like to
7:15?
get there about 7:30, and she asked them to come at 7:15.
okay, so
Just saying,
they're gonna
Okay.
be,
leave it open.
so in that case, they'll need to bring the dumpster probably that night, Friday,
Yeah.
the day before.
So if they bring
A suggestion is that you talk directly with her or to her, and then you all can decide on those hours.
Okay, I'll get the number from Miss Randolph tomorrow and give her a call.
Yeah, so
Right.
you can
Madam
coordinate that. Now, Ms. Mitchell, you spoke before and I didn't acknowledge your hand. So you have something else you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to remind the mayor and Mr. Dukes that you tell them where they need to park and where that dumpster needs to go.
Miss
So
Mitchell,
I
think we can
Mayor,
take care of
I'm
that.
just nervous about it, okay? So I
But
don't
I
know if we need
but
to move our concrete blocks at any point.
But we will need to be courteous to Mr. Clark and let him know that that's what's going to happen. So he doesn't have any problem when they come bringing that large equipment coming through. So please make sure you contact Mr. Clark so he's aware that this is going to happen.
And can they put the dumpster behind the building, up against?
They want to, she actually
They're gonna put it on the field.
No, I would not recommend that because then you're going to have illegal dumping in that dumpster, and they want to make sure that they use that dumpster for that debris on the fence. That's why she wanted to bring it inside.
That's what I'm saying, inside the park, right? Inside the
Yeah,
gate.
exactly.
Yeah, up there,
Okay.
probably near where the other dumpster is, right? Somewhere in there.
Yeah, open up the fence and just bring it on in. That's what she had suggested when me and Miss
Mhm.
Clark.
And if
Will
Mr.
that stop
Clark,
the, will that,
I'm
will
sorry.
that stop the dumping? Will that-
Yeah, they
Well,
have
I
to
guess
climb
They
the
won't, they
fence.
won't go
I gotta
over,
climb the
they
fence.
won't go over the fence and put it in there.
Hey, I don't know.
Okay, Miss Mitchell,
What happens if Mr. Clark does not allow it? What are we gonna do?
can you bring it around the back?
But that's what I was saying, that would be the alternative place if he does not allow them to come across the parking lot. That's my concern. So as long as he has agreed, he understands that this is what we're doing, and if he says no, so we got to get that right away, then we need to have them come around the back.
That's Plan B. I'm sure that Mr. Dukes can handle that situation.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll talk to
All
Mr.
right.
Clark tomorrow as well.
all right.
I don't have anything further.
Okay, I'm sorry, telephone was ringing. Anyone else? Vice Mayor, you have anything you want to say? Okay, before we get to announcements, I want to say to Mr. Dukes that I hope that the department picked up the mattress set that was at the end of Adams Street and what is that street? Up there at the end where the reservoir is.
That's Adam.
Adam.
Mary.
No, Adams, the side street where Habitat
It's
is.
Carrie. It's
Carrie.
Adams and Carrie.
Thank you, Ms. Baber, Councilwoman Baber, that they picked up that whole set. I saw it out there yesterday.
I would have to check, Miss Jeter. We get calls from mattresses almost every day, so I'll have to. And
We
they
also-
picked up
we also-
something.
We also need to remind our neighbors that we can't do that.
Yeah, there's a
They're
lot
gonna-
of mattresses.
They're gonna do it anyway, but we need to inform them what is no longer allowed here. You can put the cameras on them.
So if, Madam Chair, if there's mattresses beside somebody's house, which I've seen 2 different residences, isn't that a code enforcement issue? Because
The one I saw was not next to somebody's house. It was across the street, right there, just at that stop sign.
yeah,
the
but the ones
reservoir
I saw
problem.
today
Yeah.
had 3 mattresses piled up against, I can't remember where I was, but it had 3 of them against the house.
Well, they should be wrapped up and they can be
But
put
they're
out.
not, you know they're not.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they need to be,
So
there need to
code
be
enforcement
something that
is
goes
wrapped
out to
around.
them, telling them what they can and cannot do.
Madam Chair, I think, Jamal Willis is not, I don't know if he's still in this meeting, but I know one
He's
of the
still here.
things, he's been talking to the people, and I know for the mattresses that are laying beside the house, I think I don't know if that's that vacant property, but he's been in contact with various people throughout the community, and I think he's informed them that they need to wrap them and set them outside for Rumpke to pick up. But if not, then I'm sure he'll cite them as well if they don't do so. I guess what day is trash collection? Mondays? Is it Monday?
It's Tuesday morning.
Tuesdays.
Tuesday morning.
We put it out
So-
a Monday night, but Tuesday morning at 5
Okay,
o'clock in
so-
the morning.
So we'll do a sweep of the community and make sure those mattresses are
Did
going,
you
or
want
at
Jamal-
least like.
Did you want Jamal to say anything, Mr. Willis? Mr. Willis? Okay. All
There he
right,
is.
Mr. Willis,
Yes,
you want to talk about the mattresses that were out there or anything else?
I wasn't by the computer at the moment. What's going on?
The mattress at the end of Adams and
Carrie,
Terry.
or anywhere else.
I picked up a couple on Bird, and we picked up a couch on Bird, and then it was some more in Van Buren. I didn't see the one on Adams and Carey. We'll get it in the morning.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for doing all that you do on Bird Street. I get telephone calls all the time about Bird Street, Adams Street, Jackson Street, Van Buren Street, and some other streets. So I need help because I spend a lot of time talking to them about what's out there, the debris, the garbage, couch, whatever.
Right.
And that garbage is being put out too early. We need to address the community about when they should put their garbage out and when they should bring their garbage cans back in.
Correct.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Jamal,
What's up?
is there any way you could contact Rumpke and see if they could kind of make sure they distribute that literature again if it hasn't already been distributed as to the times that the people should put the trash out? I'm sure they already have something regarding that.
Yes, I can do that. And then people starting to put out tires, which Rumpke is not going to collect. So that's going to be another issue that we're going to have to tackle on. But I'll contact Dean Ferrier in the morning and get that situated.
Well, we have a couple of times a year that we pick up the tires. Are we going to do that?
We didn't do no tire collection this year.
COVID-19.
Yes. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just want to inform Jamal and Mr. Duke that on Shoemart that we have I had a picture sent to me today of the fire hydrant that's completely covered with vegetation.
In the old McIntyre area?
No, on Shoemart as you're going towards McGee.
In the field area?
Right there by the house. There's like, where's I want to say the Sims used to live there a long time ago.
The grass area in between Wendy's and I know what you're talking about.
No. I'm talking about down by McGee. McGee. I'm sorry, Leggett and Shoemart.
Leggett and Shoemart, and you said it's a fire hydrant just covered?
The fire hydrant is covered with vegetation. So if you come in, if you go down Leggett and you make that left turn.
Correct.
It's right there on the north side, on the left side.
All right.
Okay.
I'm writing it down now. So I get that on my list for tomorrow.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Are there any announcements? Any announcements? Motion. Mr. Dukes. Mr.
Okay.
Dukes.
Okay. Well, I just want you all to know that I don't know if you received it, but we did put out a robocall regarding the home improvement program. So,
yes, sir.
Yes.
So we've done that, and we're going to continue to kind of hammer away at it and try to go ahead and get those flyers out this week. In addition to that, as well as it's a labor-intensive thing to really go in and identify homeowners. That's why it's kind of better for the word of mouth and for someone to kind of, if there's a senior person that that someone can kind of direct those people to our attention. But we don't really want to kind of just invade their privacy and go knock on their door and ask if we could just take them a flyer. If you know of anybody, we could take them a flyer and let them know to give us a call if they're interested in the program. So
I have done that, and I have given out about 7 applications. So, but the question becomes, when they come, do they talk to you, or Donna? Who do they talk to? Or D, if they have specific questions when it comes to those 2 tax papers that's in the application.
They can talk with myself or Donna,
okay,
regarding that, and then I asked Miss Rita, since she's filling in as an administrative assistant, to kind of verse herself in the application and what's required, so that she may be able to address some questions as they come in as well. But if it's something beyond her understanding, then yes, Donna or myself would answer those questions.
Mr. Dukes, I'm glad you said something about your administrative assistant there. Is she there every day? Because I've called a couple more times and haven't been able to reach you. You know, I said I was calling every day.
She was there. She's been there since
She-
I think last week, and she was there today. So I'm not sure. And then what may be the case is if she's out to lunch, and then Lisa may have been on the phone, Miss Dia may have been on the phone. So some of the calls may just fall through the cracks. I know.
I just want to know, was someone there every day? She's there every day?
Well, she's gonna be there when I think she's just kind of filling the gaps right now.
So she doesn't have set hours?
She doesn't have,
Well, her hours are primarily Monday and Friday. Those are the gaps when there's no one there to answer the phones.
what happened to Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? Because I thought that's what council asked for, was full participation in that front desk. What
Well,
happened?
we believe we kind of have it covered with Donna and Miss D, and then if Donna or Miss D is out to lunch, then Miss Randolph will catch some of the calls.
Okay, so council asked for something and they didn't get it. I got a problem. Okay, Mayor, I got a problem with that. We asked for full coverage at that front desk because I'm still getting the calls. I even got one on Saturday that I called you about. So I don't want.
Well, here's the thing, Miss Jeter. Before we even got into talking about the schedule, you know, I think there were some times that, you know, that the individual wouldn't even be able to be there anyway, and kind of, you know, informed us what the schedule would be, what their availability would be. So it still doesn't offer that full coverage, you know, without those gap fields.
Well, I didn't ask for a special person. I just asked for a person to be in their office so that when people call, they can get an answer. I'm still getting the calls, and I don't like to take up 2 or 3 hours, and I will, because the citizens are concerned, and sometimes you have to calm them down. That's not what I'm supposed to do. But again, what the council asked for, not me, by myself, you know, but we asked for someone to be in that front office. If I'm wrong, somebody correct?
No, ma'am. Madam Chair, so I had to ask Mr. Duke a question. So as far as the rest of this week, I know Miss Pope is out. She's on vacation. So with Miss Watson doing Mondays and Friday, and we have Mayor's Court Wednesday. I know Tuesdays and Wednesdays are maybe a busy day for Miss Perkins. Who will be able to man the front desk?
Man, the front desk. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, basically, when someone comes to the door, you know, I assist a lot of people as they come down and ring the buzzer. You know, between myself, Miss D, and Miss Randolph, you know, we cover the front entrance when people come in, or Miss Perkins. So basically, we kind of have those areas filled. But you know, Miss Pope, I think, will be in tomorrow, and you know, she's gonna come in for a short while, and we could have that conversation and reach back out to see if that individual will be amenable to a certain schedule, or we may have to look at going with an individual that could provide the 5 days a week. But right now that wasn't the case, and we were just basically trying to make sure we were filling some of the gaps. So, but that's a conversation we can continue.
Ms. Mitchell.
Mr. Dukes, Miss Pope is on vacation. You say she's coming in tomorrow. How does that affect what we have to do with the audit? Is she not assisting?
She's still working, Miss Mitchell, and you know, everything is, she's communicating via email with the people.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons. And that's one of the reasons she's coming in tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Motion to adjourn, please.
So move.
Second.
Been moved in second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's leave the meeting. Good night, everyone.
Night.
Be blessed.
Yeah.
Good night.